Hello, welcome to another episode of the Witko Podcast. Today, we have my co host, Nick, and I'm drinking LaCroix. Mm.
I'm drinking the air.
All right, so first topic. A lot of people are talking about this, and I'm hyped up for it because I've been talking about it for years and years and years and years and years, and it's virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, specifically for this topic, mixed reality. The Meta Quest 3, people are walking around in it in reality. They're wearing the headset, they have the pass through, they can see the reality, they can see all the things floating around in the reality. It's mixed reality, it's amazing. Some person went to a coffee shop, ordered coffee. I didn't get to see the whole video or exactly what was going on, but there was things floating around. I saw other videos cooking in a kitchen or something with like screens all around there. And this makes me think. This makes me think. What's next? Well, if I combined old school RuneScape and mixed reality, imagine this. Imagine playing old school RuneScape with a mixed reality headset on. Okay, that's one thing, right? Right? Nick, do you have anything to add to this?
I can't imagine playing RuneScape on a VR headset, AR headset.
I mean, look, so this is how there's a few ways it can be implemented. One, there could be a modded version of the game where when you walk, your character walks and all this stuff, but I think that's a little bit too complicated. I think we need to just simplify it to the max, right? So this is how you would simplify it. You know how you have RuneScape Mobile and you can tap around and play the game while you're doing other stuff? So basically, same concept. You're wearing a headset, you're doing normal things, and there's just a screen with old school RuneScape on there, and you can, use either your eyes to tap or just use your finger to tap. Like, let's say there's a screen, you tap, you go, you continue doing what you're doing, and boom, you're skilling. You're playing old school RuneScape with your MetaQuest 3. Please, somebody do it. I cannot wait I don't have the headset yet, but if somebody does that, there's a high possibility that I'm gonna get on that, get the headset, and play old school RuneScape on my headset because that's pretty epic, if you ask me.
They also had that thing they made when VR first kind of came out, that running little pad with the rails around it.
Oh yes, that's right. So like kind of like a treadmill sort of thing, where you have that full immersive VR experience. That yes, you could do
Not that
something like that.
that took off at all.
Yeah, no. And in this vein, you have things like Pokemon Go and stuff like that that use, AR and stuff like that, AR, MR, type of things. I just saw an article about a new game. It's a mobile MMORPG that's actually kind of like inspired or takes aspects from old school RuneScape. It's called Walkscape, right? And you can when you walk, you actually that's how you play the game, and you level up and you gain skills and all that stuff. Didn't read too much on it, but again, that's one of those concepts where this is like an MMORPG inspired game where you do stuff and you gain skills. And actually, like that's another thing. Like imagine how this kind of stuff will change games. Like let's say you're doing stuff in the real world and you get points for that. You literally gamify life, Nick. You gamify life.
That's what Niantic has done with Pokemon Go, Pikmin Bloom. I think they just released a Monster Hunter World game. Thing is though, it's locked to your phone. You need
Yes.
uh you need something that breaks the connection to the phone and it constantly need to be on and like I constantly stop playing those games even though I've played them for multiple time periods throughout the years that they've been around.
That is correct. And see, I think that next step is kind of making the technology invisible. Eventually, the AR headsets, the VR headsets are going to get smaller. You're going to be wearing them. You're going to be doing normal stuff in your life. And you're just going to that's how you're going to be interacting with apps, playing the games, and all this stuff. Just naturally integrated into your reality.
But still, unfortunately, at some point it's still tied to a piece of technology.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all going to have to be, but has to be integrated into your life because when life gets busy, you're going to stop doing those things.
Yeah, so like in these aspects where we normally can't interact with apps or games or whatever, now we will be able to. Then those apps and games will have to be modified to be able to interact easier while you're doing these other things.
Right, because the biggest issue is like life happens and you stop playing Pokemon Go for a few months, a year, 2 years, and you just fall behind. And then you have to play catch up again.
Yes. Next article that I see here on Engadget, it says here Twitch will allow simulcasting to competitor streaming platforms. Users can stream on other sites as long as they're not bound by exclusivity agreements. That's cool. See? So before, basically, they didn't want you streaming on other platforms, right? If you're streaming on Twitch, from what I understand. Now they're kind of more lenient on it, which I think is good. I mean, Twitch in general seems to be restrictive on many things. I mean, that's kind of where Kick spawned from. Kick is like the Wild West of streaming right now. I think it's cool. I think we should have Wild Wests. I think this is how progress happens in society.
What's the date on that article?
October 20th.
Today?
Yes,
I mean, XQC, who's arguably one of the biggest streamers, you would expect him to have an exclusivity agreement, but he's on Kick
that's right. That's right.
and he's on Twitch. All these other streamers, like, in the day, unless you sign a contract, you're not bound to Twitch.
No.
And I mean, Streamlabs allows you to stream to multiple platforms at once as long as you pay for that Pro or whatever it's called.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that they would allow it if you don't have an exclusivity agreement, and which I thought that would already be the
I mean, they
case.
can't prohibit it.
Maybe they allowed it and then they didn't allow it for a little bit and now they're allowing it again. I don't know. I don't know the whole story, but I'm glad that if they're becoming more lenient, that they're becoming more lenient. So you know how in the past, actually, not even in the past, but even right now, when you would go on Wikipedia, you always have to question how accurate is this information, right? Well, and on the other hand, we have to question how accurate is the information that AI is spitting out, right? But both of these things, I mean, Wikipedia, would be edited by other people. They probably got better with that over time, and they probably have certain limitations of how that functions and who's allowed to edit now. I don't know. They probably got better with that, and then over time, AI will get better with that, right? But right now, I'm reading another headline that said on Engadget, study shows AI program could verify Wikipedia citations, improving reliability. Can
I mean,
AI? Yeah, go ahead.
all AI is really doing is just searching the internet for other stuff to back that up. But I mean, the biggest thing is yeah, you should be able to trust Wikipedia because the edits are instantaneous. They usually do get verified before they get deployed. Sometimes it doesn't, but there's also this one guy that has made over 5 million edits to Wikipedia,
Oh
one
wow.
person, Stephen Pruitt. Uh, he's the admin with the largest number of edits. He's basically made at least one edit to one third of all English Wikipedia articles.
Damn. Did you just Google that real quick right now?
Yeah, but I also knew that this guy existed before.
Nice.
Just he's got his own Wikipedia page.
A Wikipedia editor has their own Wikipedia page. That's pretty cool.
He started in 2004. He's created more than 33,000 Wikipedia articles. And he's apparently one of the 25 most important influencers on the internet in 2017.
Nice. So, have you ever tried spatial audio?
No.
I have not either. And I think how it works is when you move your head, the sound stays in one spot. So, like, let's say the sounds are coming from here, and I turn my head, and those sounds stay in the area. So like in reality, if there was a sound coming here from this spot, When if I move my head, it would stay there. I think that's kind of how that works, right?
Actually, I might have
Okay.
spatial as Spatial.
Yes, spatial audio. Yes.
My Galaxy Buds, Galaxy Pro 2 Buds, I think. The Samsung app, I think, has that into it where I'll be using it on my Galaxy tablet, and I move my head, and the sound is coming out the direction the tablet is. Not not what's being filmed in the video,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the position of the tablet relative to my head.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Okay.
So if I turn this way and I was on my tablet talking to you, I would hear you only here. And that's nice.
That's cool, man. Okay. Well, the reason I'm bringing that up is because Bose Quiet Comfort Ultra headphones, they um, have the noise canceling, active noise canceling, plus they have spatial audio. So
You don't have AirPods?
I do not have AirPods now. And here's the reason why I don't have AirPods. I don't like having things in my ear.
I mean,
I was thinking of maybe getting the Apple headphones, but
I didn't even know this existed. But I
yeah.
mean, yes, I don't like having things in my ear either, but it's much better than having this band over your head and pressure on your ears.
Mm.
If you're using it for a phone call, if you're using it to listen to music, or sometimes it's what I use it for if I want to sleep in and people are being too loud because I live in a pretty dense area. I can put my AirPods in, not my AirPods, my Galaxy Buds in my ears, and it's got the noise cancellation, and I can go back to sleep. I mean, it's not foolproof. Like if you're a side sleeper, I mean, it might be uncomfortable, but you can just lay on your back and you can't hear shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say you sleep with those.
Not long, but if I want to sleep in an extra hour or two, yeah.
I'd be paranoid about wearing those sleeping with them.
Why?
I don't know. I imagine. Let's say you fell asleep sideways, right, and the pressure on that in your ear. That
But it would
just
wake you up because it's uncomfortable.
I don't know. I don't know.
Or it would fall out because you're moving.
I feel like I wouldn't trust it.
I mean, even it's in your ear, so it just sticks out like ever so slightly. If the pillow gives away, I mean, you have a pretty soft pillow, it's not going to cause any issues.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's better than wearing, I don't know, freaking headphones that are noise canceling because like it's inside your ear versus on the ear or over the ear. Next,
I kind of ran out of articles, but that's okay.
it's
Um,
pretty fast.
yeah, we can
Uh,
go ahead.
well, one thing I was going to mention, and pretty controversial, but I don't know if it's Supreme Court or if it's just a federal judge. Apparently, they're going to strike down the California assault rifle ban, which has been around for apparently 30 years, I think. Now it's going to be appealed, obviously, and they gave them the ability to keep the law in effect during the appeal, but basically, they're just saying that gun's a gun.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
I you know me, I'm not a big fan of guns, but that doesn't mean that I uh I I I even though I don't like guns, I think people should be able to have guns, and I don't want to restrict people's freedoms. They can have guns, they can use the guns, and if you're responsible with the guns and you are not an idiot, and but the biggest thing is okay. I think you should be able to have the guns, right? That's one thing. But I also think maybe we might want to go over how easy it is to obtain a gun. That's maybe one thing. Like maybe if somebody has a history of mental health issues or some sort of record, maybe they shouldn't get a gun. I don't, you know. And then the other thing
But
to go ahead.
just the problem is the people that are causing the problems that you hear about guns don't have a background.
Yeah, yeah,
So they get the gun because they can,
yeah.
and then they do what they want to because they're people.
So is there really any? I mean, what are some solutions? Is this one of those difficult type of problems?
The only reason why I have a gun and I believe people should own guns is because unfortunately somebody else has a gun.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
you can do? Just not have a gun because you're abiding the law. The police can't be everywhere. They have a response time. So if a person breaks in my house right now, which I've had gunshots shot right outside my window and I've seen a car speed off, what happens if that person wants to come inside my house? It's not an easy topic, but
Hmm.
because other people have guns, people are going to want guns. If there is no such thing as violence with guns, even a knife, a person with a knife can close the distance to you within 25 feet before you can even shoot them. So that whole argument of bringing a knife to a gunfight, they're close enough. Doesn't matter if you shoot them. Might miss.
Yeah, or maybe they might be on fucking bath salts and you can't stop them.
So, and then that comes down to what do you do? What's the solution? We people have been hurting each other throughout the decades. We've gone from medieval times with swords and arrows to powder to now modern day guns, and you're never going to solve it.
Yeah,
You need to basically create a utopia where nobody does evil, and we don't live in that
which
world,
is not
unfortunately.
possible. Yeah.
Other terms, though, also apparently that the Chinese, there has been a Chinese ship that has apparently been around some pipeline or some cables in the ocean, damaged them. I think this was a Chinese ship is the focus of investigation into a damaged pipeline, Finland says. Finland police have said a Chinese ship whose movement coincided with the time and place of a suspected sabotage of a pipeline between Finland and Estonia that was damaged this month is now the focus of their investigations.
So there was a ship and they hit a pipeline.
Well, there was damage to a gas pipeline between Finland and Estonia, and they're coordinating with intelligence and tracking that at the time in that month that it was damaged, there was a Chinese ship there.
Okay. And so when this pipeline was damaged, what happened? Did like stuff leak into the ocean?
Most likely. I mean, it's most likely a pipeline to connect the countries to provide each other resources.
That's interesting. I wonder what their um like the pipeline is built, right? And I wonder if they have any sort of like precautions if something happens, if they can like
I mean, the pipes in your wall, is there a precaution if, I don't know, the pipe disintegrates for some reason?
I guess not.
Yeah, the precaution is you better run downstairs and turn the water off to the
So
entire
I guess
house.
is do they do the same thing? They just turn it
I mean,
off?
eventually,
Yeah.
but there are systems that you can buy that are like $300. I don't know if it's even more than that, but there is a system that you can then install into your house so that if it detects a leak, it shuts it off itself.
Hmm.
So they probably have sensors and they're able to cut it off, but you're never going to have a zero leakage. They have to sense the pressure loss before it stops it. So fortunately, it's going to cause damage. And on top of that, it's the economic impact. So there's a reason why the pipelines are created. It says it's going to take 5 months to repair. So basically, I guess this was providing either oil or gas or something from Estonia to Finland, and Finland now is cut off until it's repaired. They have to rely upon their own natural gas or upon other natural gas imports to get their heat for the winter. Otherwise, they won't have heat.
Okay.
Finland's really cold during the winter.
Yes. I want to go to Finland one day.
Eventually, not that far away. I might hope to be there soon, within the next 2 years, hopefully.
What
Um, Go ahead.
what I was just wondering, I brought LaCroix up here. I was gonna bring Liquid Death, but I only have like one or two more in the fridge, and I grabbed this. What beverage did you bring up?
I mean, I already drank it all, and I'm not going to drink anymore because I'm about to go to sleep from it. This is Kahlua rum and coffee liqueur, but it's blonde roast style with
Okay.
a hint of citrus flavor.
Can you taste the
Tastes just
citrus?
not really, but it tastes just like coffee, but with like alcohol too. It's only 20%.
So it's coffee, and then you got that. Wait, what kind of alcohol is in there again?
Rum and coffee liqueur.
Okay.
And then it says here, pour in two, so hard to read that. 2 parts of Kahlua blonde roast style, and does it say 5 parts of tonic water? You can call it's called the blonde tonk. And then you could also make cocoa blonde, which is 2 parts of this stuff with 4 parts of coconut water, garnished with a lemon zest. So those are the cocktails they recommended in. But I mean, you put this in coffee, it just can take just like coffee with alcohol, but doesn't really have a bite. Tastes like alcohol, or tastes like coffee just by itself with slight alcohol. Um, some other things, stocks are doing extremely bad. Um, Interest rates may rise again. So it's either time to buy or wait for it to go down even more once they actually do raise interest rates. It's gonna take a while to get out of this whole pit we're in.
Wait, so can you expand on why the stocks are down again?
The economy is still too hot in terms of expenditures by people buying products. Um, the only things that are down in spending is electric vehicles. That's why also Tesla is down 15% this week, and all the other electric vehicle manufacturers are down. At the end of this, I think we're actually going to see the electric vehicle manufacturers that are going to stick around. Danger companies right now for electric vehicles, Lucid is one of them. NIO is another one of them. I think there was actually a semi-truck electric vehicle manufacturer that just said they're shutting their doors.
Hmm.
Never, I don't think I heard of it until this week. Um, just the interest is down because why? I mean, you're they're more expensive than an ICE or hybrid vehicle, and people usually finance their vehicles, so interest rates are up, cost more to borrow. The more you need to borrow, the bigger the cost.
Apparently, Elon and Tesla are going to be delivering the Cybertrucks in a little bit.
But he also said it just cursed them
Yeah, I saw that too.
because apparently, because of the fact that who's going to buy it?
Hmm.
Most electric vehicles, again, that's kind of how a lot of technology is. Early adopters usually are the ones that have the money to spend, usually as a luxury. And the Cybertruck is more of a venture into a new territory that doesn't exist, whereas all the other electric vehicle manufacturers are producing the same things, sedans and crossovers slash SUVs. So a electric truck, I mean, yeah, sure, you have the Lightning, but they're trying to reinvent the truck. And we know Ford's not doing too well either. I mean, right now you get the union strike, and they're really targeting Ford. Ford's even said that they can't offer much more without having issues.
I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, and apparently one of Joe's friends, I think, said that they saw the Cybertruck in person, and they said it looked really good in person. So, I mean, again, I don't know. I've only seen it on video, but there are some things that do look better in person than on video. Um, but then again, other people are saying like, you know, is the actual truck bed actually useful? That's the other thing. Like, I don't know because I haven't done much research into the truck bed itself, but like, if for some reason the truck bed isn't useful, doesn't that defeat the purpose of it being a truck? I don't know. But that's just what I heard. I don't know.
Current state trucks aren't like the past. In the past, people bought trucks because they needed them. Nowadays, trucks are more of a statement.
You're actually making a really good point. A lot of trucks have a shitty truck bed, and most of them you can't even fit a lot of shit in there. So, in general, you're right. A lot of trucks don't have as big of a truck bed as other trucks used to have, and they're not used for truck purposes. Like you said, it's just a showpiece.
Well, most people that buy them aren't using them for the intended
Yeah, yeah.
purpose. That's why trucks are so expensive nowadays, is because so many people buy them just because they want to versus need to. In the past, you could buy a truck for like cheap, but now it's like, oh, I gotta have nice rims. Oh, I'm gonna have to raise the truck and lift it or whatever those things are. It's like, what's the purpose of lifting the truck other than needing to be appearing huge? Like, you're not going to lift the truck to put more in the bed. Like, it's going to be harder to put stuff in the back. Unless for some reason there's a purpose you need something high off the ground. Not really. That's
Explain
all
that
you
last
need
part
is
again. You
kind of.
said something about. Wait, explain the
When they
part.
lift the trucks,
Okay.
people get kits or whatever, suspensions that
Yes.
allow them to put the truck high off the ground.
Yeah.
What logical purpose is that if you're actually using the bed? You're making it harder to put stuff
Yes,
inside of
yes.
it.
That's funny. Oh man.
Another article, our Congress is still deadlocked. Not specifically the entire Congress, but the House. They cannot do any business until they elect a speaker, and they've already gone through two or three nominees, and they've all been killed off in terms of actually being able to be uh, elected. Keep nominating people, have votes, and they keep losing. So we're now, I don't know, 10, 15 days into the 45-day limit. They have less than a month to elect a new speaker, otherwise the government's going to have to shut down.
So on the Joe Rogan podcast, almost every episode now, they've mentioned an AI government. How do you think, like, when do you think, because it's kind of inevitable that technology will have a big influence on the government and politics. So if you were to predict a timeline or events of how this would happen, how do you think it would happen? And how do you think it would operate and what impacts do you think it would have?
I mean, for it to happen in America would take multiple decades. The biggest issue is how is an AI democratic? How is an AI for the people? We would essentially lose our rights to control the direction we want the country to go in, would we not?
Well, well, that's what I'm asking is like there could be multiple forms of this AI government, right? So what if it was only on a certain scale where it would be almost like a helper in a sense, like an assistant, like let's say it was attached to some sort of voting or poll thing, and let's say it was kind of like had human emotion kind of taken out, but it also collected input, right? And let's say it was like a hybrid, like there still was a human console, but the votes and the decisions were balanced out by the AI. How do you think that would work? Like maybe a hybrid model.
Well, if it's based off a popular vote, you just destroyed the term of the republic. You basically, if it's basing off of majority vote, you have reinstituted majority rule of the majority. So any minorities would not have any say, which is basically the battle that's always been going on right now. Do we go with what the majority of people want, or do we allow minority, not minority people, but in terms of people that only represent 40% of the country, they would never have power. That's why we are a republic, because states that have less power in certain parts of the government still have equal representation.
Okay.
If you just say California, New York, and all these big states that have the most people in it, which tend to be more progressive slash liberal, they're always going to dictate what's going to happen versus allowing then people in other states like Idaho, not that many people live in compared to those other states, they would never get their way.
So
Our country has always been a battle of both, and that's why we have this going on. So to kind of solve that issue, you have to change our form of government. And so, go ahead.
so I understand what you're saying, and so how could we use technology or AI to fix current problems within our government? Like, because clearly right now there is.
Stuff that isn't decisive. So we all know there are problems with the southern border. We all know we have problems with certain other countries. We all know we have problems with people evading taxes. Like, people need to pay their taxes properly. Stuff that humans have trouble doing because maybe it requires 50,000 employees, which isn't a feasible option to keep hiring, to keep investigating. So, oversight of certain things. Like, there's a backlog of taxes. We don't have enough IRS agents to process all those taxes.
So are you
So,
saying that AI isn't necessarily going to be an AI government, but is going to be working in the background of everybody and every company? Personal AI, company AI, government AI, and helping fill in those human errors?
if you don't think that it already exists today, you're naive.
Well, I know that it exists on a certain level, but
It's
obviously,
it's on a grander scale than you ever believe. The past, my current and past company I work for, both of them are interested in pursuing AI. One's a private company, one's a public company. And they're not big companies, as big as something like Microsoft. And we all know Microsoft's been not only deploying it into their Office suite 365, but also it's integrated into Edge now. And to be honest, at my job, I'm probably going to be using Edge from now on instead of Chrome, because there are certain things, the integration now that I've seen between Microsoft 365 and Bing AI into the Edge browser, in the ability, the fact that it has also the same extensions I use in Chrome.
yep,
Why don't I need to use Chrome anymore?
yep.
And they've been working hard at it, and I think they're finally there. It's just now they need to win back everybody that left because of Internet Explorer.
That's right.
But in terms of being in the background, every company has an interest in AI. Why? Because if you can cut out the need to have two employees, and now you only need one to cover that role because the AI is going to recommend most stuff, but then that one employee is just vetting all of it. That's it. Same thing as take e-commerce, for instance. When you're making decisions of what should display above what, if that AI can take into the analytics of this product makes us 80% of our money, or the set of products, prioritize at the top. Right now, you need a human in the loop to basically say these products, based on the analytics of this platform, is telling us that that's producing 80% of our revenue. Those should be at the top. The AI could do that as long as you train it to do that. And then you no longer need a human to manage that when stuff changes. You introduce a new product that might be now your core product, and then you got to make sure you're boosting it manually. But now, if you could set an AI to do that, because you can do rules now too, saying, oh, these products in this category are boosted. The AI would take over and it's going to cut the need for humans to be involved. That's part of the reason why some.
Oh, did he just freeze? Sorry that there was a cut in the podcast. The podcast froze. But we can continue now. Nick was talking about AI, e commerce, and just the effect AI has on certain businesses, right?
And the impact on needing less workers.
Okay.
And in turn, what I was going to say is that basically a couple months ago, this article is weird. I swear I saw it. Yeah, in July. No, that was something else. Basically, JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon predicted that we would probably be transitioning to a 4-day work week with AI.
Oh, okay. Well, the problem with that is they've been saying that stuff for years. Never happened
Well, you
because
gotta understand that when you're when these people are talking, they're talking about something that's gonna happen in our lifetime, but who knows if it's gonna be 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or even by the time we retire. But basically, not only would it decrease the need for workers, but in turn, it might need to work less. I mean, if you can have an AI take over the needing to, as we're talking about, an e-commerce boosting and burying products based off of what people are buying and what makes you the most profit and all that. Right now, you need a human to do that in a lot of e-commerce websites, especially companies that don't spend their time focusing on e-commerce. There are a lot of companies out there where they specialize in producing materials. They're not thinking about e-commerce and the need for it and the fact that they could make more money by doing e-commerce. And with COVID happening, it's changed. A lot of companies now, and not just companies, but consumers themselves is forcing companies to have to think this way. Because they can't just sit there and say, oh, I want to specialize in producing a pen. Well, I mean, you could specialize in producing the pen, but then you're going to have to sell it to somebody else that's specializing in the sale. You can make more margin, thus making more profit because you are basically having an AI run your sales platform. Not only that, but then you don't have to pay a person to manage that specific piece, such as boosting and bearing your products that sell the most, that make you the most margin.
so are you saying that a company will have a product or multiple products and the AI will figure out which product is performing well and which one is not and basically tell you focus on this and not this and then it would push those products let's say using SEO and not only will it tell you what to focus on through analytics and stuff, but it will make those decisions and push those products.
I mean, that's what people do today.
Mm-hmm.
Companies have an analytics person, companies have a person that specializes in managing the products that actually make the action being done. So if you have an AI that can interpret the analytics, then change the system to automatically do that, and you get rid of multiple jobs. So we all were saying how there were certain things that were replacing jobs, such as like automated cashiering systems. Like at McDonald's, some of these newer restaurants, and I don't know if it's everywhere, but they have the kiosk that you go up to and plug your order in. They don't have somebody standing at the register anymore like they always had. Yeah, it's replacing those workers because it's an easy job. Cash register, and now people are used to checking themselves out. Every time I go into one of my local grocery stores, um, the self checkouts have expanded. They went from 1 row to 2 rows to 3 rows to 4 rows over the period of 5 years. And that's because people have gone into the habit of checking themselves out. I like it because I can do it faster than the cashier. I used to be a cashier, but also knowing technology could do it faster than the cashier can usually. And especially because like these people are usually making pretty low money compared to somebody that's going to be fast because who the hell wants to work at a grocery store making minimum wage or slightly above minimum wage that's going to care as much as the person that's checking their own product out. Now, I have heard people saying, "Oh, why should we have to do their job?" I mean, at the end of the day, part of my thing is I hate waiting in line. Now, granted that the self checkout doesn't solve that issue because you have people that are slow at the self checkout, you have people that don't understand, but I've gotten down to the fact that as long as I have access to the machine, I'll be faster than almost anybody else in that line. Um, and so it's the ability for me to dictate the speed versus somebody else. I go into a line, and there might be a person that's old. Not that there's a problem with old workers, but typically my experience is they take longer. And I'm in, as we all said, like people are busy, stuff happens, like come and go. Like I don't want to have to be tied down to a person. I want to do it myself. Uh, and so with the fact that now AI is can go beyond the basic needs, if it can tie systems and thoughts together, that's the reason why we need humans. Like think about it. We have people working on automating car driving. We need bus drivers. We need taxi drivers. We're on the cusp of potentially not needing any of those because if AI or whatever these self-driving systems are, you won't need a human anymore. Right now, humans are most effective because we can connect the dots that a computer can't. That's the only benefit of a human over AI. If an AI can connect the dots, and it only takes one human to maybe connect the dots before it becomes sentient enough to do it itself, you need one human to manage the connection and teach it. This is this system that does this. This is this system that does that. Now take that data and go there. Right now, AI and companies is use it, but you have to vet it for everything. Doesn't provide flawless solutions. Like when we went on vacation, you and I together, we used it to plan our vacation, but the problem is even though we asked it to give us an itinerary, it didn't group everything together that's in the same geographical location. Now it may think that it was a better idea to do those things because, but it didn't explain its reasoning. You could
Mm-hmm.
probably ask it that, but it needs to do it without you having to ask that.
So, yes, self checkout has made a lot of the times everything faster And you're right, there was some flaws in it when we were planning our itinerary. Another thing that I see this article mentioned here, the title of this is Self Checkout is a Failed Experiment. Obviously, this is a little bit of an exaggeration, but it put, please, not another unexpected item in the bagging area, right? So there are flaws with self checkout. And their point here was like, you need people to stand around there and put in codes or fix the problem when it says that or whatever, do whatever, fix whatever problem. Like sometimes they have to check ID or blah blah. So there is some aspects still where a human will be needed to fix a certain error at self checkout. I think this article, obviously I didn't read all of it, but every single thing it seems like our society nitpicks, which I think is a good thing because when you nitpick these things and bring up these flaws, we progress, we get better until the thing is perfected. And people, get mad that stuff doesn't work right away. Oh, AI is not perfected. Oh, self checkout is not perfected. Well, yeah, it's not perfected. Not yet. Doesn't work well yet. But once we spot out these things, we improve. Spot another thing, improve. Spot out another thing, improve. That's the way of it is. That's the way of the land. Trial and error.
I mean, I think the other thing with self checkouts is I've been to stores where the self checkout is not that bad in the sense that it's like, please place item in bagging area, and it
Yeah.
keeps telling you that. And I think part of it is too is you as a consumer learning that system. Because it's the same thing as the
Yeah.
cashier learning how to use the system to do their job for things. So when you go and visit and frequent that store, you get used to and you know what you can and can't do. Oh, you can't do that fast because the computer's not there yet to like understand everything, and they got to do checks to make sure you're not stealing stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it's just a difference of systems because I could definitely tell a difference between one store and another store system. And then on top of that, like there are stores that literally show you camera of you checking out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's mainly for stealing, so you know, hey, you're on camera, you're being watched. But I don't need to see that. Like I'm expecting that regardless, as cameras are all over nowadays. Like camera in the store, regardless if it's the one above you in like Walmart or the one that's on the ceiling.
So
Like
that brings an interesting question. Would you rather know you're on camera or not know? Because I was just thinking, like, it's all about the experience of a customer feeling welcomed and comfortable, right? So if you know you're on camera, you feel a little bit uncomfortable. But would you rather know you're on camera or not know you're on camera? I guess it depends on the person, right?
when I'm outside my house and I'm near buildings, I assume I'm on camera.
You assume, yeah. So are you saying there's really no need to show that on the screen because it ruins the customer experience? Is that what you're saying?
For me, yes, but for fortunately, unfortunately, I don't know what the best term is, but I think I have expectations that a lot of people don't. Um, I think a lot of people in society believe that they have freedom and privacy that they actually don't have. There are a lot of people out there that don't think about just not only surveillance of government, but surveillance of companies. When you walk into Walmart, they are observing you not just only for stealing, but they're observing your path through the store. Not
Okay.
you as individual, but they collect that data, and so in turn, you're being tracked regardless of whether it's not as you as an individual or as you as a customer base. And
Yeah.
when you're going anywhere, like every company has a reason why they want to do surveillance, whether it's to gain insights based on data or whether it's to prevent theft. Um, and basically, like even the average user of a website, do you understand that most websites have a tracking tool now? They do have quote unquote some privacy in the sense that they block out usually the data that you're typing into the site, such as your password, so that the person viewing it to make decisions doesn't have access to that information, like your social security number and all that, if it's on like some form that you need to fill out. But at some point, a most websites, if not all websites, where understanding how the customer is using it they can literally view everything you do, where your mouse is, where you hovered, how long you spent, how many times you clicked in that specific spot, because they're analyzing what's causing you pain points, not you as an individual, but you as a customer for their entire website, what the pain point is. And wouldn't you want that to happen? Because you get aggravated when a website is crap. So if people are using that data to figure out, oh, 100 people are clicking in the same spot multiple times because they don't understand that something's happening behind the scenes and there's just no feedback on the front, you as a user are going to expect somebody to hopefully fix that.
It makes your
And
experience better.
and if nobody does, you're going to stop using that website because you're going to run into the same problem every time. So you have to assume no matter what you do via digital, via person, as a body, you're going to be tracked.
Yes.
Otherwise, you can go and be naive throughout your entire life thinking that you are special and nobody's watching you. But at the end of the day, regardless if it's about you as the individual or you as a customer base, meaning multiple persons, you're still being watched. So is privacy real? Not really. I mean, in
Yeah.
your home, it might not even be real either. Like, as I just mentioned, the website, I'm using Google right now. I'm
Yeah.
using Twitch. I'm using YouTube. I'm using Amazon. They're watching what you're doing.
Yeah.
And you're on your own house.
Yeah.
What do you think your phone is?
Yeah.
Most people like convenience of, oh, use location. All right, well, I mean, Google is sending me every couple of years reminders, what did you do 8 years ago?
Yeah.
So if you think that's your data, you're naive.
I mean, like you said, when you're using a website, they look at what you're doing. If they see frustration, they improve on it. That's a benefit.
Well,
And
that's the hope. It might
yeah,
not always be that way,
yeah.
but the smart company would use it to make more money.
And then similar things probably in a retail store. You go along your merry way through the store, you know, they figure out where the best placement is for a product. Let's say everybody is having a hard time finding a certain toilet paper, right? They're like, okay, this spot isn't working. We have to put this in front of the store because it seems like, let's try this. Let's see if it works better. And they change the spot. People go through toilet paper and their sales go up. There's customer satisfaction. You're getting surveys. Um, and another thing is, not only is the retail place tracking these movements, but your credit card is, right? So they know what you're buying. They know what uh, flyers to send you, and your credit card could be linked to your phone. So not only flyers, but ads. So if you combine all of this, every single one of these places, retail store, internet, magazines, whatever, they all have their hands in your data, pros and cons, better or worse. It improves our lives in one sense. In another sense, we lose privacy. But it's like in this world where we expect everything to be free or easy, eventually, I don't think there will be any privacy. There pretty much isn't already. And I'm not saying it's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying that it's inevitable and we will be basically numb to the fact that we don't live in a world of privacy and it will just be the norm.
I mean, the one thing that you talked about, putting toilet paper at the front because it's hard to find. There, you got to also understand there are reasons why they don't want it to be easy to find, and they want it at the furthest point of the store. There
Yeah.
are certain products called loss leaders where a website is you searching for stuff. Going in the store, you're still searching for stuff. So shopping in store versus shopping online is not really as different as it seems to be. When you shop online, they want the products that make them the most amount of money and the products that sell the most usually to be at the top because people don't tend to scroll that much. Same thing in the store. You want to force the person to go to the back of the store for a necessity that has a low margin, such as milk, because by the time they get there and have to then go back to the front of the store where the register is, you're seeing thousands of other products that are huge in margin.
That's right. You got it.
So even if it's easier for them to put it at the front of the store to make your journey easier, it's not beneficial for them because you may just go in for the milk, but they lose money on that versus then going for because they know you need milk, they know you need toilet paper, but they don't know that you don't need pretzels, you want pretzels, you want chocolate, you want coffee.
So, yes, you're correct. And I didn't think of that right away, even though I knew that information before. But you're correct. So you're saying milk, low margin item in a back because they know you need it. So they make you walk through the store and they make you find items that you may want, right? So they make you walk through this maze to get you to buy more. But are you saying so what they would put in the front is items that, like impulse buy items, like candy and
If they
stuff?
really wanted you to find it, it's not about location in the
Yeah.
store, it's about location on shelf. Companies are paying for your eye level. In a
Yes.
physical store, Coke pays to be put at eye level because they know that customers don't tend to look down or up. If it's at eye level, you see that first. When you have to look down, it's harder to find.
Yes. And then probably they would want to put items in front of the store that they want to get rid of, like clearance items.
Possibly.
Maybe sometimes. Usually
Why would
clearance.
you put clearance items in the front if somebody's going there for a bargain? You want to put them through other stuff that they may
Yes,
buy,
yes.
cheap stuff that may have a higher margin. Just there's thousands of ways to think about it, and that's part of where humans are always trying to think what's a better way to make more money, because that's the end of the day what capitalism is. And so is it better to have the discounts at the front, the back, surrounded by higher margin items that may still be cheaper, putting the stuff that you don't make money on at the back so they can walk through the whole store? Like we are constantly thinking and having conversations with other people that are thinking about that same thing inside the company that you may work for.
Yeah. I guess clearance items would be the same thing as the milk. It's a low margin item. Even though they want to get rid of it, they still want to get people to walk through the store because usually people are looking for a good deal, which they would want to walk through the store, right?
Bigger picture is though, what's the company's goals?
Yeah.
Who that's guiding the company? What's the goal that they're trying to achieve? So, I mean, you have this game that you're playing. It's not the same answer for every company. Do you put the clearance items in the back of the store or out of the way where they have to walk through stuff that's other stuff? You may want to then promote that in the front of the store to get rid of it because it's taking up footage, square footage from other products that you could then spend more time selling than having this stuff be in clearance, but nobody wants to buy it.
Yes, I guess time dictates that, right? If something is sitting there forever and the value keeps going down and down and down, you're like, okay, this is just like you said, taking up space. We have to move it. We have to get rid of it. So it
Yeah,
depends, right?
because you can't place, if you have 500 cars and you have 500 parking spaces for those cars, and you have 300 cars that nobody wants, sometimes you need to take the loss so that you can start producing stuff that people actually want.
Okay.
You don't have unlimited space for a physical product. And even for digital stuff, you don't have unlimited space. People aren't going to scroll on your website over 1,000 products. Just all the same thing.
Yeah.
1,000 sodas. Nobody's looking at 1,000 sodas. People are looking at what they know, what they want.
That's interesting. There's a whole system for physical products. I just wonder how this would apply to services. I guess that all depends on analytics, and you would look at your analytics, you would see how your service performs or how many people are buying it, and then if it doesn't work, you try something else.
Well, if you offer photocopy your services and nobody using it, you're not going to keep offering it.
Yeah. Hmm.
Like the reason why Kohl's has a partnership with Amazon to do returns is because it's beneficial for them because they give a coupon that's usually located in the back of the store. Their hope is that you buy something.
Hmm.
If nobody ever uses that service, nobody's ever going to buy anything, and then in turn, there's no use to offer it. They've been doing it for what? Since before the pandemic, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Kohl's have been doing it for a while.
Obviously, it's beneficial because companies aren't going to be doing something for longer than a year if it never works out.
I wonder what Amazon's next big move is. That's my question. Because they were an unprofitable company for such a long time. And I think, didn't they just recently become profitable? Or
Well,
am I confusing it?
Amazon websites, e-commerce website was technically unprofitable, but they were profitable because of web services. They still are.
So do you think that, so that's their like, that's like their big focus points, I guess, is the web services because so many other companies depend on them for that.
It could be. I don't know. More recently,
Yeah.
I haven't kept up with Amazon as much.
Alrighty. Well, I think this is a good stopping point for the podcast. Do you have anything else you want to talk about or mention?
Nope.
Okay.
Pretty sure it's been an hour and
Well, thank you, Nick. I appreciate it. Everybody, will see you on the next episode. I enjoyed talking about all these topics. Nick, you did a great job. Thank you again. All right. We'll see everybody. Peace out.
good night.